Okay, sorry. I hate to do this to you, but do you mind starting over?
Uh-oh. Okay. Well, basically, I started the business approximately 2 months ago, a little over 2 months ago. Um, I have been watching Brittany for over a year now. In fact, we were introduced over a phone call over a year ago, and I never joined. And I started seeing her online a lot, and I saw her life change like immediately. Like it was like overwhelmingly like something that you just wish for, and when I saw her, advancing, I knew within inside of me that I could do the same thing. If God could do it for her, then I knew that it could happen for me. um, one of the things that she told me when she talked to me, she said, you have to have a goal, you have to know your why. And I was like, well, I know I haven't really done any vacationing. I didn't have a real wedding, but those were my things. But because I'm unselfish and I love my family the way I do, y'all, I'm such a crybaby. But seriously, because I love my family the way I do, um, I wanted to see my husband, who's almost 60 years old, retire. um, because he's battled a long time with health issues, with lupus, as well as stage 4 kidney disease. So he was one of my priorities because he works 12-hour shifts and works 6 days a week. So basically, that was one of my goals, and that was one of my whys. And I also help take care of my son, who's 24, and he's disabled. And I just wanted them to have a better life. I wanted my daughter, who has 5 children, to have a better life and to leave a legacy for her children. I wanted to be one of the first one of my mom's children to actually own a home, instead of renting and having leases and having someone tell you all of their rules and regulations of what you can do in their house. And it's just a whole lot of whys, guys. And I think that's what made me push so hard in that second month, because at first I was telling Brittany a lot. I was like, well, I'm not getting that many people, and there's this like 2 weeks go by, I haven't gotten anybody. But I knew that I could have the desires of my heart if I just worked and didn't give up, if I was consistent and always listened to the coach, because she helped me so much, even get through the hard days, like when I would make all these calls. And one thing stuck with me: every call is a new call. So that helped me get through it. So basically, every call, I always start off with it being a new call for me. I can't take in what the last call was into my new call. So I don't know. I don't know if I'm getting off base, if but basically, yeah, that's why I'm here. I have a lot of goals that I want to reach.
I love it. I love that one thing about Mary, and I'm sure you guys caught this the moment she started talking, is Mary has a powerful why, or powerful whys, and she just always focuses on that. And so from the first conversation I had with Mary, her why, or whys rather, stood out to me and just touched my heart. And I knew she was going to be someone who was going to run and not stop, because she, like she said, she has her own goals, but she also has a huge heart, and she wants to be able to go the extra mile for her family. And so I love your story, Mary, so much. And I know everybody else was really touched by that too. Okay, so Shannon, if you are on, if you could, let me unmute you. There you go. If you could go ahead and introduce yourself, just tell everybody a little bit about how you got here and your journey so far.
Okay, so my name is Shannon. I'm currently a stay-at-home mom. Sorry. Okay. He's taking care of Kason right now. So I'm a stay-at-home mom, and I'm currently a full-time student trying to finish out my degree. Got married about 2 years ago. He's all right here. He's taking care of baby for me. And very quickly after having the baby, we realized like that money was really tight for us. And so I've had so many friends that have joined It Works, and one of my friends actually shared Brittany's video promoting the $9.99 deal. And I was like, oh my gosh, I've been using their products, the past like 3 years and loving them. And so why not take a leap of faith and join finally? I always kind of wanted to, and people had tried to get me to, but I couldn't afford it. Well, I thought I couldn't, but really I knew, or I should have sooner. And so since money's really tight and everything, I thought, like, after seeing Brittany's post, like, I could do this too. If it's, I mean, I'm always on my phone anyway. Why not use it to make money like everybody always says? And so my first month, like, well, I'll get to that later because I'm sure y'all are going to ask these questions later. But I've already started making money, and Aaron's kind of like, oh my gosh, like, he's shocked that from my phone I'm able to bring in money like that. And all I'm doing is talking about our awesome products and sharing results, and now making so many new friendships and things out of it. So my why has been just to give us some financial freedom, because we literally on the weekends, because we're paying for all of our money's going towards groceries and things like that. I want us to be able to get to go out to eat. I want us to be able to go to the fair, just little bitty things instead of sitting home on the weekends watching TV. I want us to be able to live life and enjoy life, especially while our baby's young, and because I want to have more kids. And we know that right now that's not even an option, because we know that it'd be too hard to afford another child. So basically I just knew I needed to do something, and I didn't want to have to put my child in daycare because I knew that we couldn't afford it. So, because all of my paycheck would be going towards childcare. So that's basically it. And I have been just so amazed with the friendships that I've made and everything else. And I'm loving this journey so far. Everybody's so inspiring, but I think that's it.
I love it, Shannon. When Shannon reached out to me, I know she kind of said a little bit about this, but she reached out during the $9.99, and she, like, we hadn't even ever like talked over Messenger or anything. We were Facebook friends. And she just said, you know, I read your story, and your story, I just relate to it so much. And I remember her saying, like, the only difference is I have one kid and you have four. But she was like, other than that, like, that's my story. And I just, you know, I think it's so crazy how so much of us have so much in common on social media, but we don't always realize it until, you know, we're vulnerable and put that out there. And Shannon does such a good job at connecting with her audience, you know, in the same way now that she's in the business. So, and I'm excited for you guys to hear some elaboration on that and some tips. But okay, so I have some questions that I'm going to ask both of you, and then I have some questions that are kind of unique for each of you. So we'll just kind of just go along. And all right, so for Mary, I wanted to ask you first of all. So Mary, you started during the $9.99. And I know that a lot of new people, when they join, one of the things I hear over and over is people say, like, oh, how do I sign distributors? I just don't feel like I feel like I can sign customers, but not distributors. You have already built, gosh, somewhere between a Ruby and an Emerald team. I know you have a full Ruby team. You went Ruby last month, but I know you're very well on your way to Emerald too. I want you to just share with us, like, your best tips for, like, how you've been signing distributors, because you've obviously made a lot of headway in 2 months, and I know that a lot of people who are newer could really feel like they could relate, you know, to your advice, also being, you know, fairly new in the business yourself.
Well, what I done was before I get on the phone, I have to have my mind, you know, clear. You know, so basically, I knew that I wanted to touch out to my warm market, which were my brothers. I don't have sisters, so I reached out to my brothers, and my brothers actually became, you know, loyal customers. But as far as the distributors went, you know, I thought that was going to be a lot harder, but by it being $9.99, everybody likes something that's costs about that much instead of that much. So basically that was one of the things that was real easy for me to get distributors. You know, I made sure that I was very positive about the It Works. And when I talked to my daughter about it, she talked to her friends about it. So I just made sure that I was very positive about, you know, what I was doing and what they could accomplish, you know, in it. So.
I love that. Just turning it around on them and focusing on, you know, I'm in this business. I'm so excited. You know, this is what I can do for you. So just keeping it really simple. Okay. And then the next question I want to ask you before we go on to Shannon is, so you have been doing almost everything belly to belly. I know you are posting on social media, but I know from when we talked last, you're getting, a lot of your customers from just picking up the phone or blitzing or whatever. And so we'll go into more depth about that later, but kind of like, how did you just get started breaking the ice with doing what we call, and it works, belly to belly, like picking up the phone, blitzing? Like, did that feel natural to you, or was there like that moment where you're just like, okay, this is my game plan, this is what I'm going to do? I know you're super social, but I just wanted to ask you kind of how you jumped out and started that.
Well, to tell you the truth, Britt, I'm really a shy person at heart, but I had to, get rid of the nerves in order to express myself more naturally. And I had to know the person that I was speaking to as well. And even if it was a stranger, our first words would kind of let me know where to go from there. I kind of read people instead of just going at them. I read them and I listen to them and I see what their wants and their goals are first. And then I elaborate and I just let them know how they could do something a little bit different, or instead of giving, commands, I give advice,
Okay.
And I open the conversation up so that they can give me what they need.
So where are your favorite places to blitz, to talk to people about the business in person, or like our products?
Really, you want to know? I have my hands in so much stuff, guys. I'm a home health aide, so I work a lot with elderly and disabled. So I'm always able to give that heartfelt communication. But I also am a volunteer in the nursery, the bus ministry at church. So I have a lot of social group and gatherings that I go to. So a lot of those people, I just reach out to them and tell them what I'm doing. And that just kind of starts off the conversation. And there's plenty, I have to let y'all know, there's plenty that have been that goes to my church that have been introduced to It Works. But I think the pavement had already been paved by Brittany.
So guys, I have to tell y'all this because Mary's just way too humble. So Mary, whenever I blow up with Mary, it was Wednesday night and Sunday night, church nights. I would get on E-Suite at night on those 2 nights, and it would be like, Mary, 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 Mary. And I'm like, Mary, what are you doing? And what's funny is we used to go to the same church, and so I recognize these names. They were people from church. And I told her, I said, these are people that didn't ever act interested in me. Now, like she said, there may have been some seeds planted. They may have seen my post on Facebook, but they never reached out to me. But Mary, just going up to them at church and just starting a conversation, signed them as a customer. And she was taking, I'm just going to tell them this because you didn't share this yet, but she took her catalogs with her to church and stuff. And so as people asked about it, she was ready. So I'll let her go into more about that later. But seriously, she's way too humble. She's a hustler. Okay, so we're going to go over to Shannon. Okay, I just unmuted you. So Shannon has built her business, to my knowledge, mostly off social media. I know she has talked to her friends and stuff about it as well, maybe off social media. But I know a lot of her, like she said, she's a stay-at-home mom, and she has just been pretty much working primarily off her phone. So Shannon, you jumped right in and with both feet, and you were signing customers, right out of the gates. I don't even remember how quickly you got your first 4, but I know it was really fast. What was kind of your strategy into, jumping right into social media and just making that work for you?
Well, after being on a dance team before, I was doing dance for like 5 years, semi-professional. And so I was used to constantly sharing about our sponsors and stuff. So I was so excited to be able to do something like that again. And so I immediately started sharing about our wraps and things like that. And I already had a bunch of people curious about it because I used to take that stuff too. So a bunch of my dance friends were already interested in things like that. And I've tried to stay really consistent with my posting and just make them better and quirkier. And I've realized I really need to change it up as I've gone on. But just making sure that I'm posting constantly about my personal results, that's been the best thing. what I got the most feedback from was when I did my 2-day cleanse and I lost, I think, 4.5 pounds, and people were just like, oh my gosh, I have to get that. And so that was really great because I was super vulnerable, and I literally did a live video looking at the scale with my weight, and I think that really made people feel comfortable and like, oh my gosh, she's very serious about this, you know. But I get a lot of messages left and right about like, hey, what is the wrap thing? And just asking me questions, even people that I don't think to message because they see my pictures and things like that. So, but I definitely did get a bunch of customers really quick. And then I've kind of had a little bit of a slump lately, but I don't know if you may be asking about that pretty soon.
Okay.
How to deal with that.
What?
Like how to deal with not getting discouraged during those dry spells, because I've definitely had one recently. And I've just, you know, try to go 150% now, even more, because I've realized it's not enough, and you've got to keep adding, you've got to keep messaging, reaching out. You can't just keep doing the same thing.
Right. Yeah, and I definitely want to ask you and Mary both about your mindset and just like getting through those like periods, like you said. A couple things I wanted to ask you. So are you doing a combination of posting and messaging?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, I was just going to ask. So just if you could just tell us a little bit about what that looks like for you, and like, are you reaching out to mostly your warm market, or, you know, how are you going about that?
I've been reaching out to more than warm market for sure. Like I'm reaching out to mutual friends and things now too, and people that I haven't talked to in a really long time, but I definitely bring up the conversation differently. I'm like, how have you been? And things like that. And I try to catch up with them before I say anything about it, because I've done that a few times where I go all in and I'm just like, hey, do you want to try something? You want to be a product tester? And then I don't even get a response. So I quickly realized, like, let's say I don't want to feel the way I felt when I didn't even get a response again. So let me just talk to you about some real stuff and then warm up to you and, you know, then start asking.
I love it. So just reaching out to those old connections, maybe people you haven't talked to in years. And then after y'all, you know, taking a few messages back and forth to caught up, you know, then bringing up it works. And I love too, because a lot of times if you just start that conversation, if they've seen your post, they might even sometimes bring it up, you know? So I don't know if that's happened to you yet, but I know that, I heard one of the ambassadors say one time, they said it works will always come up in conversation. Like if you talk to someone long enough, like if they've seen your post, it'll always end up coming up. So, okay. And then, so how many times a day are you posting, or do you have a set number?
I'm trying to add to my number. I usually try to do at least 2 posts about the product in some way. Just whether it's like, how am I getting through my day with my child? I take Confiance, so things like that, or I'm drinking my greens in the morning, or how do I get through those periods where I'm like super hungry and I talk about my shake, things like that. But I can't wait to start getting more products in because I've gotten pretty repetitive. So I'm super excited to get some new products in so I can show off like before and after results, because that's what really hits home is the before and afters. It's kind of hard to explain how Confiance makes you feel because, you know, they're not going to know unless they try it.
Right. I love that. So yeah, just being a product of the product and just sharing how it incorporates in your everyday life. That seriously is as simple as it is, guys. So those of you that are on here and are new, just literally incorporating it works into your daily life. And just talking about what it does for you. Like that's what people want to see. Like I love how Shannon said a lot of her first customers were because she did the cleanse and she lost like 4.5 pounds, and people were like, oh, I want to lose 4.5 pounds too. Definitely anytime you have an opportunity to get your hands on new products, you know, do it, because it will always, you know, help your business. Okay, so I'm going to go back over to Mary and then we're going to come back to you, Shannon. Okay, so I want to ask both of you guys this question, but we'll start with Mary. Talk to us about your mindset. Like, how do you stay focused and how do you not get down whenever you have no's? Because obviously you guys have both mass enrolled, but that doesn't mean that everyone's told you yes. I know that for every yes y'all have gotten, you probably have gotten 5 no's too. But the difference with you guys is you've increased that number, so the ratio still is in your favor. Yes, you may have had this huge chunk of no's, but you reached out to so many people, you had yeses too. But we're all human. No's hurt our ego, no's hurt our feelings. Some of us are tougher than others. So just talk to us about like how you stay focused, how you don't get down with those no's, and just keeping your mindset, the way it should be.
Well, basically, whenever I hear no, I guess you would have to know me and you would have to know a lot of my background, because no is like something that I can't say I'm accustomed to, but I've heard it, and you just get past it, you get over it, because every no, I believe there's 5 yeses out there. So if you give me a no, then it's okay. I'm going to go to the next person, but I'm going to make sure to write your name down so that I can do my follow-ups. I believe in follow-ups, because I'm going to tell you, Brittany, a lot of people that I have had already told me no. But then it's like something happened and then they said yes, so obviously it was that seed was planted. Although they said no, it wasn't a definite no.
Right.
And that's just how it went for me.
Right. And a lot of times too, it's a money issue, and people maybe, sometimes are embarrassed to say that. And so they might tell you no, but are really interested, but they have no money. And they're just like, no, I'm not interested, when really they are interested. And so by you following up, you catch them at a time when they do have money. And now all of a sudden, like you said, it's like they're, magically they're interested now. So I love that. The fortune is in the follow-up. And I can tell you right now, I know Mary follows up, because she blows up eSuite, and with high orders too. So we're going to get to that in a minute. Her and Shannon both, but I want them to share on that. But I guess the other second part of that question I wanted to ask you, Mary, is just how do you keep your mindset right when you do maybe have a couple days that you're not enrolling? I know like the end of the month you were mass enrolling, but there was like a couple days before that maybe it was a little slower, and a couple days after. So like when you have those, small little walks in the valley before you get back on the mountaintop, right, like how are you just keeping, because you're always so positive. I've never heard you. So share your mindset.
Yeah. I basically, like, if I've had a bad day, I don't try to blame it on anything, because everything doesn't have to have a blame to it. I don't have to blame the weather. I don't have to blame because I went to work. I don't have to blame anything on it. So it keeps me positive. It keeps me in a mindset where just go and do something, whether it's a phone call, whether it's a post, whether it's, hey, just let everybody know that you went walking today. You did 2 miles, and last year you couldn't even do that. So it's always a way that you could get around that mindset.
Right. I love that. Just keeping it simple and focusing on the positive. And you do that all the time. I see your posts where you'll be like, it was a beautiful day. I fit 2 miles in. You'll take a little picture of your map. And I think that's just so good. Like, even, for all we know, you did have a bad day, but no one saw that on Facebook. On Facebook, like, you were keeping it positive and uplifting, and you were choosing to show the good. And I think that's just so important. I love that. Okay. So we're going to go over same question for you, Shannon, just kind of, how do you stay focused when you do go through the no's? And then second part of that question is just keeping your mindset up and where it should be whenever you are in those, slightly slower periods.
Right. So after I got 15 customers right off the bat, super quick, I went through a dry spell for about a month. And I knew that it wasn't just me being lazy with my work, but I was letting other things affect my confidence. And it's just funny how that really has such an effect. Like, I was dealing with some things that are private, issues with family and things like that. And I was letting it get in my head, and I wasn't as confident, and I wasn't posting the same as I usually was. I was getting lazy. I was just posting the pictures that are already out there. I wasn't getting creative and things like that. So what I started doing was, after I talked with you on the phone, I was still kind of going through that. And you said you need to start doing more self-development and things like that. So I started listening to the How to Be a Badass. And she just puts it so bluntly. Like, the way she comes across is kind of like fierce and in your face, but it is so motivating and uplifting, because it's like, we are all humans. We all have our issues, and you have to just truck through them. And at least recently I started listening to Stephen, I'm going to say his last name wrong, I always do, Stephen Furtick. And they actually listened to one, and I posted about it on Facebook today, but he said, don't let your situation contaminate your spirit. And like Mary was just talking about, even if you're having this terrible day, there could be, I mean, you could have lost a family member or something like that, but you still got to stay positive for your people. And that's how you're going to get more customers, is by staying positive and, you know, just having a positive outlook on life and all that. And just, I don't know, I'm rambling now, but I quickly learned that I've got to do some self-development. I've got to do some more Bible study, because I really was like, man, I thought I had this, and then quickly thought, I don't. Like, I felt like I was giving up, but I knew, no, I do. And every morning seeing my son's face, I was like, oh my gosh, I have to be strong for him, you know, and he gives me a lot of motivation every day, because I know that through watching you and through watching Mary and so many other successful It Works distributors, that anything is possible, no matter where you've come from or what your background is. It's crazy that we can all reach that level. Like, it's shocking. With no college degree, you know, there's no stipulation that you have to meet, because we all equally can get there.
I love it. And I love how you said, like, when you were going through, you know, your, I'm just going to call it funk, for lack of a better word, you were still working, but you noticed you weren't enrolling. And I think I saw someone ask this on one of the leadership pages today. They said, I have a girl that's doing all the right things. She's posting, she's messaging, she's working really hard, but like hasn't enrolled in months. And the first question I asked was, I said, is she doing self-development? And that was what everybody else was asking too. And I think it's so important to realize, like, you could have two people that are doing the exact same things, but if one's doing self-development and one's not, this person will always be enrolling more. And it's like, you know, like Shannon said, you know, we're all human. So none of us are immune to, you know, those thoughts and those feelings and those things that happen. You know, I go through funks, and it's like, whenever I'm going through a funk, I have to like quickly realize I've got to up my self-development. If I don't do anything else today, I've got to just be listening. And I love Stephen Furtick. I put that in the comments so you guys could see, but that was who Shannon was talking about, Stephen Furtick. All his sermons are on YouTube for free. He's absolutely phenomenal. It's like double in one. It's spiritual self-development, but then it also helps you with everything in life too. Like, everything he says, I'm not even kidding, I can take it and apply to business. But yet I got my cup filled spiritually as well too. So I definitely recommend in the car, you know, in the shower, whatever. Okay. Hold on 1 second. Okay. 1 second, you guys. I'm making sure everybody's muted. Okay, so I want to go back over to Mary. Let me unmute you, Mary. And I want you to share with us how you upsell. I've noticed quickly from the beginning, you don't just enroll a couple hair, skin, and nails customers. Like, you enroll really big orders. For those of you that don't, you know Mary and didn't hear, you know, her story towards the end of the month on how quickly she promoted a Ruby. I mean, I was seeing an E-Suite like 120 BB, 120 BB, 180 BB. I think I even saw one that was like 240 BB. I mean, it was mass orders. And I was sitting there like, what are you doing, Mary? So I want you to just share a little bit with everyone on how you're taking a sale from just being a bottle of Fat Fighters to it being the system in Fat Fighters, or, you know, whatever, how you're getting such big orders.
I guess, Brittany, you know, I was calling you like, what do I need? What do I need? What do I have to get? You know, and it's basically because I'm not a mathematician. I'm just going to be honest. And Brittany is my mathematician. She's like, okay, I'm going to go check for you, and this is what you need. So as long as I know what I need, I'm fighting for it. So basically, I couldn't just accept hair, skin, and nails. I need more than that. So I'm going to tell you, hey, you might can look, instead of just focusing on your hair, skin, and nails, I know you said you wanted to lose this amount of weight. Try our cleanse. Or this is what I do. I do the Fat Fighters. I do the ThermoFit. I do this. So I'm basically telling them what they need in a way that they know that they already want it. You know what I'm saying? Because I basically have gotten to know who I'm talking to. I know some of the areas that they want to work on. So I try to just get them to you know, just get at least one or two things instead of just one thing, you know. And that's how I did it. I couldn't take no for an answer that day. I just could not. I was not going to do it.
Well, and like what you just said, seriously, is something that no one wants to really like let sink in and put into action, but it's so simple to do, and you have nothing to lose. Like what you said, like they're already going to order something from you, and you know that they're interested in so many products, not just that one. So why not go for, the big sale? Yeah. I haven't read this book, but Claire talks about it all the time. It's on my list to read. It's a book called Go for No. And the whole premise of the book is to go for the no, like go so far that like you're going to keep going till they say no. And in the book, she talks a lot about how, and I'm just repeating this from what Claire told me, but like I said, I haven't read it yet, but she talks a lot about how we sell ourselves short by just like assuming they only want one thing. Like just because they only asked you about hair, skin, and nails doesn't mean that's all they want. And she says to say one simple thing on your sales, and this probably is something similar how Mary does it. But she just says, like, after they talk about that initial product, she says, well, is there anything else you're wanting to work on? Or was there anything else you're interested in? Just something simple, because you have no idea the people that'll be like, actually, yeah. And I know I'm really bad about this. Like I get a sale and I'm just like, okay, great, getting your order in. And it's like just stopping to ask, was there anything else? Because so many people will open up to you and there will be something else. So I'm definitely...
You have to always remember, like, if you've ever had that telemarketer that called you and you place an order and they're going to tell you that they have something else for $5 more if you would like to get this. So, baby, trust me, I use that same thing that they use.
You know what? I know that you did, because I saw several of your really big orders. They were already massive orders, and then I saw you were adding eucalyptus on with it, which is like 15, and I'm like, how does she sell eucalyptus? But I get it now. You're like, would you like some eucalyptus oil for $15 more? So I love it. Guys, I'm serious. Like, I have so much to learn from Mary, because I definitely am like a scaredy cat. When I get the sale, I'm just like, oh, I'm gonna go put this in, and it's so silly. Like, why not ask for more? We have no idea what that person's actually willing to spend. So I love that. Okay, Shannon, you also enroll some pretty hefty orders yourself. I've seen lots of big over 100 BB orders from you. What are you doing? Are you doing something similar, or do you have a completely other different tactic?
I'm unmuted, right? Okay. So, honestly, no, I've done what we're not supposed to do, and I send them over to my site. I first talk about everything that we've got to offer and the goals and everything. And usually they're like, well, I need number 1, number 5, number 7, and number 8. And I'm shocked when they're like, okay, I'll get it all. I think I told you that one time she spent $300, and I was like, what? Because usually my orders are from kids that are in college or they're young families and they don't have a lot to spend. So I'm always really, really shocked when people spend so much. But like Mary does, I want to start reaching out to a broader group of people, more diverse, because it seems like the younger people that I'm friends with usually can't afford it. And so I'm definitely going to start trying to get in a group in church and things like that to broaden my sales, because she is killing it. I started crying that night when she was getting all those LCs, and I just needed a few more to get to Ruby. I was like, oh my God, she's so amazing. I honestly thought that there was a glitch going on or something. I really did. I was like, did she just accidentally post the same LC 4 times or 6 times?
Whenever I was even seeing the comments, like I was looking at it, I'm like, because she would comment on the thread and then she'd message me a couple minutes later. So I'd see the comment before the message and I'd be like, no. And then she'd message me. She's like, where'd I put these 2? And I'm like, Mary, you are a 4. But no, I love it. And I love what you said about like college kids and younger families. I heard a tip when I got started, and someone actually said that. They said, young people generally don't have as much money as people that are older, because, they don't manage their money as well. They don't, they don't have to go to a job, whatever. And they said, so instead of like adding a bunch of young people on Facebook, they were saying, go to your friends' Facebooks and add their moms and their aunts and et cetera. They were saying like, go to the family section and like add their family members who are older. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's so smart. And so what's funny is I've added to my friends' moms. My friends didn't become customers, but their moms did. So I think that that's a big thing, is, reaching out to that just slightly, just the next generation, because a lot of times, like you said, they're the ones that are going to go place a $300 order. So that's awesome. Okay. So I guess one of the last things that I wanted to ask you guys is just, I wanted you guys to just share like one of your final tips with everybody that is just something that you feel very strongly about, because you guys have both been in the business the same time, 2 months, something that you've learned over these 2 months and that you just feel really strongly about that's helping you or has helped you, and you want to, just impart that wisdom on the rest of the team. Mary, we'll go ahead and go with you. You're unmuted.
Okay. Well, I have the 5 things that I talked about previously with another group, and I'm just going to name them off. Define your something better, which is your why. Determine the choices that you need to get through to that vision. So you determine what do you have to do in order to get to that better. You envision yourself there. And then you ask yourself a few questions like, what's holding me back from making my goal today? What goals do I need to reach today? How many customers or LCs do I want to have by the end of the week? But you make it, you try to just don't make this big array of goals, because you may at the end of the day not reach it, and then you'll feel bad because you didn't reach it. So just keep it simple, make sure it's doable for you. See, for me, I do have a full-time job, so I do have to make it reachable. And one of the worst things that can happen, what's one of the worst things that can happen if you don't reach that goal? Well, the worst thing that can happen is that you give up. So don't give up. Be transparent with whomever you're speaking to, because trust and believe they want you to be as natural as possible and not a salesperson with a sales pitch. And just be honest with yourself, and you can go farther than you could ever even imagine. And that's one of the things that I had to do. I had to do the self-development, number 1, because I was a very shy person, and I always thought that I was intimidated. I thought I was intimidated by other people because they had more than me. They had the education, they had this, they had that. I'm here to tell you, 2 months later, with this, it works, has shown me that I'm just as good as anybody else. So, and it took self-development, and it's working. So
I love that, Mary. You're definitely just as good, if not better, than everyone else. You've blown my mind in this 2 months. And I love what you said about, you said you felt intimidated, but then you realized you only felt intimidated because you thought you were intimidated. And I think that phrase that we all hear so often, and we just kind of like push aside, and like, yeah, I've heard that since I was young. You are what you think, is so important, because your mind will always believe what you feed it and what you tell it. So like Mary said in the beginning, I just want to rehash this because this was seriously gold. And the more I've gotten to know Mary, like she's just spoken so much life into me with just simple things that she says that she doesn't realize. But when she said in the beginning, like, if you're having a bad day, like you don't have to blame it on anything. Like it's okay that you're having a bad day, but you've got to like turn it and focus on the positive and like be like, you know what, it was a bad day, but I just went and walked 2 miles. And I couldn't do that 2 years ago, like just simple things to be thankful for. And I think that it's just so important, like to just shift that mindset and be so careful, like with what thoughts are coming in and what thoughts are going out. Because if you are telling yourself all these negative things about yourself, and I mean, I'm preaching to myself here because I'm super hard on myself, but if you're telling yourself all this negative stuff about yourself, you will believe it and it will affect you. And like Mary said, like she used to be shy, but like I didn't even know Mary was shy, because all my conversations with her, she's just this rock star that I'm like, teach me your ways. Like, how are you going to church and signing up customers? But like, it's funny to hear her say, and not so much even funny, but like enlightening to hear her say that like she didn't consider herself out when she started. She thought she was shy, she was intimidated, but then she quickly was like, no, I'm not. And I'm going to do this just like anybody else. So there's one thing you guys take away from Mary, take away that, because anybody can have that mindset. But the thing about it is you do have to work on it, and you do have to train your mind. So,
and let me say one more thing before you. I know if this is a $1 billion company, and I know if I could just imagine 1 million people working for a $1 billion company, where's my spot in that million, with those 1 million people? I'm not going to lose my spot. So somebody's no is not going to make me lose my spot. My mind will not let me lose my spot, because within that company is my spot. So don't let nothing take your spot.
I love that, Mary. Oh my gosh. Guys, seriously, write that down. That's incredible. And we have an even bigger advantage because we only have like 240,000 distributors in our company. And like she said, we're $1 billion company. Like, that's just so good. I'm going to start telling people that when they call me and they're having a bad day, I'm gonna be like, where is your spot? Like, we're $1 billion company. And I think that just ties into the thing that we hear a lot of the ambassadors say, like at conference, they'd get on the stage and they would say, all I am is a distributor that didn't quit. They were like, I'm nothing special. They're like, the only difference between me and someone else is I didn't quit. Like, I kept going through the hard days. And that's exactly what Mary just said. Like, a no isn't going to stop her, you know? And if you would have seen what I saw those last 3 days of the month, guys, executive to Ruby in 3 days, you would know that. You would take that to heart even more than maybe you are now. So anyways, I'm going to stop rambling and let's hear from Shannon. Hold on one second. Let me find you. There you go. Okay. Oh, Shannon, can you unmute yourself? It's like, I think, are we all frozen or is it Shannon that's frozen?
Everybody else is too. Hold on. Is it better now?
Yes, you're better now.
I think it's about to die.
I was trying to unmute you, would it work? So, okay. Sorry, go ahead.
It's okay. So, personally, I've always had this, I think it's from being on so many teams, is like if one of you messed up, then it let everybody else down too. And what I've quickly realized is that is not always reality, especially with this. Like, when I was going through my little funk, I felt like I was letting you down. I felt like I was letting everybody down because I felt like I had eyes on me, and then they were suddenly saying like, oh, what's up with her, you know? And you never know what somebody's going through. And so anytime I notice somebody else not having as many customers as they were, I'm like, well, I guess they're going through a hard time, you know? But I'm so used to having to just, I guess, try to be perfect, or I don't know what it is, but that teammate mentality where we all are like at the same level and we're all doing the same thing, and that's not how this is at all. So I've had to adjust to that, and I am a big worrywart, and I've had to totally set that aside and set all of my fears aside because I let everything just rest on my shoulders, and I'm super sensitive, and I let things get to me that shouldn't in all aspects of my life. So and Confiance has helped that so much. But watching Stephen Furtick's Why Am I Anxious video today, he was saying how he would be laying in bed worrying, couldn't sleep at night, and this is how I was for a whole month. I would literally lay awake till 2 a.m. thinking, what am I doing wrong, you know? And he said that the Lord spoke to him and said, you are staying awake worried about something that I have already worked out for you. And hearing that really helped me because there is no need to worry. You need to just cast it all on him, and he's going to hold your hand through whatever struggle you're going through. Another thing that I think is super important now, as I'm getting to that 3-month mark where people are ending their product testing, you know, trial, and they're possibly not going to keep getting products, is maintaining good relationships with all of your customers. I've reconnected with so many people because I check in with them every week, and I'm like, hey, how are your fat fighters going? Do you like them? Like, and if they're not really digging it, then I ask them why, and then possibly introduce other things to them because maybe they were wanting to burn more calories and I suggest something else. So, but it's funny, like I've got one customer who every Sunday she does a wrap on her neck, and so she'll send me a picture every Sunday, and she's like, Sunday fun day ritual, and she wraps her whole head up, and it's so cute, and she's so excited. She's like, I just love these products. But asking them how they're doing and just checking in with them, because you never know when somebody's gonna suddenly feel like, oh, well, she's not really caring about, I don't know. I just think it's important to make sure that they know that you care about their results and their health journey. And broadening their eyes to more products, you know. So I think that's it though. And planting seeds, I've been doing that a lot because I've got a bunch of people who maybe couldn't afford it this month, but they're really excited to try it next month, and just checking in with them and writing all of those people down, because I message so many people every week now that I've had to write down those potentials so I don't forget about them, because at first I wasn't kidding, so I've had to scroll way back just to find them. But I think that's it. Just stay positive.
Yeah, I love what you said about just like maintaining that relationship throughout their trial period, you know, throughout their 3 months. That way, at the end of 3 months, you know, you're very aware of how they've been liking the products. And if there was an issue, they've already told you about it because you checked in. And that's just so, so good for customer retention, because at that end of that 3 months, when you go to tell them about that $50 gift card they're going to get at 6 months, you know, they're going to be so much more likely to keep it on, because if there was a problem, you probably already handled it, nipped it in the bud. They are so loyal to you because you guys have this increasingly, you know, just constantly getting better relationship. And so I think that is just a golden tip to just, you know, I think so often we sign the customer and we're like, all right, next one, you know, and I love Kelsey Thornton always says that her husband tells her like the most important players are the ones you already have. And that goes for distributors and customers, you know. We work so hard to get our customers. We don't just want to forget to go on and work hard to get new ones. We want to take good care of them so they stay customers for life as we're getting new ones too. So that was just such a really cool thing. Definitely love what you said about staying organized. I think that that is so, so important, especially because as we have promotions and stuff, if you have everyone you've ever talked to down in a notebook, if there's ever any kind of a promotion like buy one, get one free wraps, buy one, get one free cleanse, like you have all these people you've talked to and you can like scan it and be like, oh, she was going to buy the cleanse and never did. I'm going to tell her it's buy one, get one free cleanse, you know? So definitely if you haven't done that yet, take the weekend and get organized and just scroll through your text, scroll through your messages, because that definitely will help you out so, so much, like Shannon said. So, well, thank you guys seriously so, so much. If there's anything else that you guys want to share before we get off, feel free. I'll go to you real quick, Mary. Did you have anything else you wanted to add, Mary?
No, I just want to tell everybody thank you all for being here tonight, because you being here is a part of our team, and I just want to just thank you guys so much for allowing me to even speak tonight.
We were all very blessed to hear from you, Mary. I know a lot of people have been anxiously awaiting hearing, you know, your journey from executive to Ruby. So thank you so much for giving your time. Shannon, did you have anything else you wanted to say?
I hope Jamie starts better, because I know she was so looking forward to talking tonight, and I just feel honored to be able to speak. I was so nervous. I know I stuttered a little bit, but it just makes me want to work even harder, knowing that I have teammates that are looking up to me, and we're all in this together. And I just feel so lucky to be a part of this specific group, because I know we are going so far. I mean, it's just amazing how quickly we've all started progressing, and I'm blown away.
I love it. And I'm just so thankful for each and every one of you. God has brought some amazing, amazing people into this team this past summer, and you know, even in the spring and, you know, before that. But I feel like this summer, the floodgates opened, and some people who just really, really needed this business and, you know, just really, you know, came in. And I'm just so, so, so happy for us all to keep running together throughout the fall, because I know you guys have, you know, heard the hints from Mark and you've heard some of the updates I've given, but big things are happening in the fall, you guys. There's going to be a new product unleashed the end of this month. And there's going to be 2 new products unleashed in October, and the rest of the line will come out at conference. And I just can't even wait. I know this is going to be huge for business. So like Shannon said in one of her final tips, you know, just keep planting those seeds. And like Mary said, just keep talking to people. Don't let no stop you, because I promise you, like, if you keep doing what Mary and Shannon are doing throughout the month, like, you will have a massive, massive harvest to reap. But you've got to be willing to like press through and like keep your mindset right, and not be in a good place to reap that harvest when all this stuff starts, you know, unrolling. So, well, thank you guys all so much for being on, especially those of you in Fire Tribe who just got the memo really late. I know that this was so last minute, but whenever Jamie asked me to take over because she was sick, I said, let's just go ahead and open it up to everybody, because I know everybody has been, you know, dying to hear from them. So thank you guys for hopping on, and I hope everyone has a wonderful weekend with their family. I'll post the recording soon, you guys.